Well, what's up, Menlo students? Hey, if you joined us last week, you got to hear Amy and Zach and Mary share some of the things that they've been doing during shelter in place just to stay busy. And so this week I figured, why not just tell you? Why don't I show you? And so we're going to go on a walk together because this walk is something that my wife, Taylor, here's my wife, Taylor, and I have been doing every day because we knew when shelter in place started that it would be so easy for us just to sit back, to hit cruise control, and to be lazy. And so we set this goal. We said, hey, we want to use this time to grow closer together and also to stay pretty active. And so every day we've done these walks and we've learned that it's a great way to kill two birds with one stone. I've been talking with a lot of y'all as well, and I've been hearing that you've been doing similar things. Like, check out this cake made by Caitlin from Notre Dame High School.
Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean.
That is incredible. It almost looks too good to eat. And our worship band has been doing the same thing. I have missed worshiping with them every week, but they've been putting together these videos to help us worship and grow together. So why don't you check this out? And as you do, sing along, listen to the lyrics, and my wife and I will keep on walking.
Touching every heart, I worship you, I worship you. You are here, healing every heart, I worship you, I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. 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 Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. is who you are. That 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 is who you are.
Well, thank you so much, band, for putting those videos together, and we can't wait to continue worshiping with you and seeing more of those videos in the weeks to come. You know, this whole idea of setting goals and doing things in order to accomplish those goals, it's not a new idea. I mean, we all know that if you want to pass your class, even if it is pass-fail, you have to do some homework. Or if you ever want to run a marathon, you're going to have to get off the couch. Nobody ever accidentally does a marathon. But I think sometimes we view our faith as though it falls in some sort of different category, as though our faith is something that will grow or change simply by sitting still or simply by showing up on Sundays. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Let me ask you this question. What is the goal of being a Christian? Take about 10 seconds, type it in the chat, or maybe write it down on a piece of paper. So what is it? What is the goal of being a Christian? Well, I believe it's this. The goal of being a Christian is to be more like Jesus. Theologian Dallas Willard once said this. He said, a disciple or a Christian's ultimate goal is to live every moment of your life as though Jesus were you. To live every moment of your life as though Jesus were you. Growing up, I had a goal. That goal was to be the next Michael Jordan. And so what did I do? Well, I watched all of his games. I bought his jersey. I bought the shoes. I practiced whenever I could. I stuck out my tongue when I was going into the hoop. I did all the things that I saw Jordan do because I thought that if I did that, I could be the next Jordan. Of course, I lacked some things as well, such as being 6'6" and unbelievably athletic. But it didn't stop me from trying. I think the way that I viewed Jordan speaks to us about how we should view becoming more like Jesus. We need to see the things that he did or listen to the words that he said and practice the things he did. Paul, the Apostle Paul, was writing to an early church leader named Timothy, and he said this. He said, train yourself to be godly. See, physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, beneficial both for this life and for the life to come. Train yourself to be godly. Basically, train yourself to be more like Jesus. And I love that Paul says the word train instead of try. Trying has this idea that it's all about sort of the results, whether you do it or you don't do it. You know, you try to read the Bible or you try to be a nicer person. Training, on the other hand, is more about who you become or what you become. It's about taking steps every single day to get closer to a desired goal. Train yourself to be more like Jesus. And notice Paul doesn't just say that. He says physical training is of some value, but godliness, that has value for all things. Every part of your life will be better if you train to be more like Jesus. See, one thing we believe is that when we choose to follow Jesus, Jesus gives us his spirit. And as we train ourselves to be more like Jesus, we create space in our life for Jesus' spirit to work in us, to become more alive within us. In another letter, Paul writes this. He says the fruit of the Spirit, or basically the byproduct of the Spirit working in our lives, is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. He's saying that when the Spirit works in you, those characteristics become true of you in every part of your life. You begin to be more loving to the people in your world. You begin to be more patient when things don't go your way. Or maybe you're more joyful in the highs and the lows of life. When we train to be more like Jesus, these characteristics embody our life as we become more like Jesus. So how do we train to be like Jesus? For about 2,000 years, followers of Jesus have done things called spiritual disciplines, or another name for them could be habits of Jesus. They are habits that Jesus did in his life that when we do them, we begin to be a little bit more like Jesus. And you probably know a number of these. We talk about them quite a bit, such as reading your Bible or praying or worshiping. They're all practices that we can do in our life, habits that we can do in our life to be more like him. And so today I want to talk about just 2 quick ones that I think we can do in shelter in place, because every day in shelter in place is a chance for us to be more like Jesus. The first is the habit of gratitude. And I don't know if you're like me, but I find myself getting very frustrated and cynical during this time. And I can tell you, cynicism is not a fruit of the Spirit. So the habit of gratitude is simply looking at the end of your day and thinking about 10 things that maybe you were grateful for that day and thanking God for them. Just getting in the practice of recognizing things that you're grateful for. And I'll tell you that if you start doing this, you'll begin to see those things in the middle of your day and not just at the end of the day. You will become a more positive person and become more like Jesus. Another practice is stillness and solitude. And you may hear that and be like, stillness? Brett, I consider that boredom. And yes, a lot of times in our life, we don't like sitting still because we have so much stuff going on. We live in a loud world. We're always listening to music on our phone, watching videos, doing all those things. But stillness has the ability to make us more like Jesus in ways that you could have never imagined. In fact, Jesus oftentimes went alone just to talk to God. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been trying to do this every morning, of just taking about 15 to 30 minutes to turn off my cell phone, turn off music, and to sit with God. And when I've done this, it's been kind of scary because all of those thoughts that I try to not actually deal with, the things that are frustrating me, maybe the conversations that I need to have, come rushing into my mind. But when that happens, it's allowed me to have conversations with God about, hey, what is it about these things that just make it spin in my mind? What conversations with other people do I need to have? Jesus, where do I need to invite you into my life to help me become more like you? And I've begun to notice a difference in my life every day. Maybe try that out. Every day is an opportunity for us to be more like Jesus. And as we do these habits of Jesus, make them habits in our life, we can become more like Jesus as well. Well, right now I'm going to throw it over to Juice, and she's going to talk to a couple of students about habits that they have been doing during shelter in place to continue to grow more like Jesus. Take it away, Juice.
Hey everyone, I am here with 2 students. We got Meredith from the San Jose campus, and we have Ethan from the Mountain View campus. Hi guys, thanks for being here today. They are going to get to share with you guys a little bit about the practices that they've been doing during shelter in place and just how it's gotten them a little bit closer to Jesus during this time. So Meredith, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I've been doing weekly Zoom calls with a few different groups from church, actually. So every Sunday, I have a Zoom call with our student leadership team from San Jose. And we start off the meeting with talking about genuinely how we're feeling and what's bothering us and how we're doing spiritually. And then also on Sunday, right after that, the girls from the student leadership team, we are doing a little Bible study with our student worship pastor, Lauren, and we're working through the book of James, and that has been really great.
Oh, that's cool. How do you feel like you've seen it help you grow?
Yeah, I think this whole situation has really just made me kind of more reflective. I think I'm becoming more okay with just not being busy 100% of the time and kind of sitting with my thoughts a little bit more. And I think I'm also a bit more gracious with others because we're all dealing with a hard time.
Yeah, that is so true. Thank you. Over to you, Ethan. What have you been doing to train yourself to be a little bit more like Jesus during this time?
So I grabbed this book called the Bible, and I had this little journal that I write in. I like to, write my ideas. I like to, recently I looked at the book of Ecclesiastes. It's really depressing and stuff, but you just learn a lot. And so what I write down all the chapters. I like to take notes on them, what I learned, what I thought was important. And at the very end, I just summarize all of the important messages that I've learned. And with that one last page, all maybe like 1 month of work on one book that leading to that one page, I just take that one page, look at the messages, and whenever I'm feeling down or I need some gratitude in my life or I'm angry at someone, I just take a look at that page and see what I need to improve in my life.
Wow, that is awesome. Do you feel like that has kind of helped you grow in your relationship with Jesus over these last few months?
Well, it has been helping me a lot. Mostly, a lot of the stuff that I write down is about social interaction. And because I don't have that anymore, I got to focus more on gratefulness and gratitude and how to help other people, like within my own household instead of just my friends.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you are watching right now and you want to know more about these spiritual disciplines, these spiritual practices, or you just want to get connected to community, there's going to be a number that pops up on your screen. Just text that number and we will be in touch. So thanks again, you guys, and back to you, Brett.
Well, Ethan and Meredith, thank you so much for sharing with us. And it is awesome to hear how God has been using this time to help you become more like him. So this week, I want you to remember this. Every day is an opportunity for you to become more like Jesus. And as we practice these habits of Jesus and make them habits in our everyday life, we can become more like him. So here's my one invitation for you this week. Choose one habit of Jesus as a life group and commit to trying it together this week. You could even call it your walk with Jesus. And as you do this, I believe that you will notice that you become more loving and patient and kind and caring and all those fruits of the Spirit as you become more like Jesus. Well, that's it for now. We look forward to seeing you guys next week.